It's day 583. It's also December 9th, 2020, and we are in Platte City, Missouri. You ever wake up in the morning and ask yourself, what am I doing? And more importantly, why? Yeah, me too. Hi, my name's Craig, and this is my story. A story about life. Life out there. For visuals while listening, to watch the video versions of this podcast, or even just to say hey, check us out on our website at lifeoutthere.me. The drive into Platte City from St. Joseph, it's a slow one, a short one, just 30 miles or so. The rolling hills of northwest Missouri stretched out in front of us, the landscape framed by tall trees and farmland. It's late fall, maybe even early winter, depending on how you want to look at it. The temperature fluctuates from one day to the next, and the golden hues of autumn are barely holding on. The occasional gust of wind sends the last of the dry leaves scattering across the road, mixed with the occasional snow flurry. You're not prepared for Platte City until you're right on top of it. And even then, it's easy enough to miss the heart of it. There's a freeway sign that marks its existence, but beyond that, not much to suggest what lies ahead. You exit off I-29, and the choice is simple. Head left, you'll find yourself at Platte Falls, part of a wildlife management area. Or turn right over a small hill and down into a town that's quietly marked a piece of American history for nearly 180 years. Platte City is home to about 5,000 people today. It's a place that doesn't ask for attention. But once you find it, you get the sense that it doesn't need to. It's the kind of town you can step into and immediately feel the history beneath your feet, especially if you're lucky enough to visit on a warm stretch of December days that invite long walks along the streets, which that consistently shifting weather had somehow once again provided us. This town has lived many lives, but its roots can be traced back to something much older, stretching back even before it had a name. Before 1836, the land where Platte City sits was reserved in perpetuity for the Native American tribes by the Treaty of Prairie du Chien. But that, as is often the case with treaties, didn't last long. In 1828, the U.S. government saw the potential of this land. They issued a license to a man named Zadok Martin to operate ferry boats on the Platte and Missouri rivers. He chose to settle right at the falls of the Platte River, an area that would later become Platte City. Martin became the first legal white man in this territory, and though his claim was based on an agreement that had been quickly undone by the Platte Purchase of 1836, a deal that opened the land to settlers and changed the course of history in the region forever. The promise of fertile soil, abundant resources, and a mild climate made Platte County an attractive destination for settlers. By 1840, the area's population was approaching 9,000, and the city's foundation was taking place. But it wasn't a smooth path forward. Like much of Missouri, Platte County became a hotspot during the Civil War, and its troubles didn't end with the close of that conflict. In fact, the years that followed were marked by lawlessness and unrest. Rumors swirl around Platte City with whispers that the infamous outlaw Jesse James had planned a bank robbery there before being killed in St. Joseph. And just a few decades later, Bonnie and Clyde would be involved in one of American history's deadliest shootouts, right here in Platte City, just before meeting their end in a deadlier gunfight not far away from here just a few days later, near what is now the Kansas City airport. But these are just pieces of a broader picture, one of chaos and an area struggling to find its balance. It took until 1867 before the local lawmakers were able to restore some semblance of order to the area. By the turn of the century, law and order had been reestablished. And the Missouri Marshals? Well, they were a familiar presence. They were known to go to great lengths to capture criminals trying to escape justice, sometimes traveling as far away as Mississippi. It was a far cry from the lawless days of the previous decades. But it was also a necessary shift. And here, nestled along the Platte River and surrounded by miles of farmland, Platte City stands today. It might not be the first town people think of when they consider Missouri, but it carries the weight of history with quiet dignity. The land still stretches out, perfect for agriculture, wildlife management, and the people who call it home. And for those who choose to live here, it offers something simple, a sense of place. With St. Joseph just to the north and Kansas City to the south, it's the ideal spot for those who want the feel of a small town without being too far away from the convenience of a big city. The history of Platte City, a past full of lawlessness, outlaws, and struggle. But today, it's something different. It's a town that quietly celebrates its 178th year. A town that's carved its future out of the land and the rivers that have always defined it, and one of which, the Platte River, would lend its name to the city. We spent a couple of days here in Platte City, walking the streets, imagining the history. And in that time, I'd done a pretty good job of avoiding the news. But last evening, I couldn't help but checking in on this pandemic. I found this, an interesting timeline put together by the folks at the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus.
Coronavirus.
There are fears a rapidly spreading virus has reached Australia.
This is a rapidly emerging situation where there is not a cause for alarm.
The first US case has been detected.
There's confirmation the coronavirus has reached Australia.
China is urging its citizens not to travel abroad as it struggles to contain the virus.
We will be standing up Christmas Island as a quarantine area.
Foreign nationals coming from China are now banned from entering the country.
I have today declared that the coronavirus presents a public health emergency in the United States.
Trying to contain a city of 11 million people is new to science. It has not been tried before as a public health measure.
The death toll now has risen above that of the SARS outbreak 17 years ago.
We now have a name for the disease, COVID-19.
I was at a hospital the other night where I think there were actually a few coronavirus patients, and I shook hands with everybody.
The Italian government tonight put the entire country on lockdown.
COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
We will be suspending all travel from Europe.
From Italy this evening, it just gets worse. The death toll now worse than China.
What happened in Bondi was unacceptable.
12 years of perfect employment, it all blows up in 24 hours.
More than 3 billion people in almost 70 countries and territories have been asked to stay at home.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
We're asking everyone to work at home if possible, postpone unnecessary travel.
आज रात 12 बजे से संपूर्ण देश में
So together, and with the rest of the world, we face this unprecedented challenge. For many, young and old, 2020 will be the toughest year of our lives.
We've got some breaking news to bring you, and it's to do with the Prince of Wales. He has tested positive for coronavirus.
The Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has tested positive for coronavirus.
Countries around the world have now reported more than 1 million coronavirus cases.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been transferred to the intensive care unit.
The city may have to temporarily bury bodies on public land if they run out of morgue space.
Better days will return. We will be with our friends again. We will be with our families again. We will meet again.
And meanwhile, here in the U.S.,
tonight, on the eve of one of the nation's busiest travel days, health officials worry Americans returning from a winter holiday could spark a new surge, with hospital workers already at a breaking point.
I've never seen a healthcare system pushed to the level that we're at.
More than 77,000 Americans died to COVID in December alone, the deadliest month so far. Across the country, field hospitals are now being put into place to help with the surge, as some researchers project 115,000 could die this month.
What people need to understand that some 15% of people who get COVID will end up in the hospital, and half of those people will probably die.
Despite the desperate warnings, large gatherings across the country were spotted ringing in the new year, including a party in Mar-a-Lago attended by Donald Trump Jr. and several parties in New York and hard-hit Los Angeles busted by law enforcement.
The risks that you take will result in death of somebody else in your community.
On top of a new record daily case count in Florida, the Sunshine State is now the third to report a new, more contagious COVID variant, joining Colorado and California. In Los Angeles County, the nation's epicenter, where one person dies from the virus every 10 minutes, the Army Corps of Engineers is being called in to help upgrade older county hospitals, having problems delivering vital high-flow oxygen to patients desperate for every breath.
They can't maintain the oxygen pressure in the hospitals because there's so many patients on utilizing this high flow O2.
One county official calling on Governor Gavin Newsom to bring back the USNS Mercy. The hospital ship originally provided emergency care to non-COVID patients in the spring to help with the demand, as health officials say they need all the help they can get, with ICU capacity at 0% for weeks and hospitals now too overloaded to treat everyone.
Are really bad. We're overwhelmed. We're stressed. We're stretched so thin. It's pretty unimaginable.
And Steve joins us now from LAX. Steve, this is a big travel weekend.
Absolutely, Jose. AAA projects 85 million Americans will have traveled this holiday season. Health officials say that may lead to another surge, but we simply won't know for another 2 to 3 weeks because it takes time for symptoms to show. Jose?
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube.
the weather is shifting again. As we left Platte City behind, it was clear that this is a place with a history worth remembering. The map says we'll head west, into Kansas. First up, a place called Hayes. And I wonder what we'll learn there. This thing called life comes with a lot of rules. Maybe it's time to break a few. Because you can. No, seriously. You can.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.